Hello and welcome to another episode of LiveStyles. This is a real-time live talk show covering everything from entertainment news to the fashion, lifestyle, and beauty world that is going on all around us. My name is JC Aaron. I am your resident social media influencer, telling you all about the online discourse about some of these things and what is trending in the interwebs. Now, the best part about this show, you guys, it is a live show. So we need your help and interaction from home. Throughout the show, comment along. I can see all of your comments on multiple social media platforms. And we have some fun interactive things going on today. We have polls coming your way. We're going to be highlighting comments. And we're going to be talking about some great things today. So, of course, we're going to start off with the entertainment news, but we have a very special guest today with Linsey Olson, who is a travel, history, and fashion influencer, and she's going to be telling us all about renting clothes while traveling abroad. And then we're going to have a fun game coming your way, talking all about the reboots that are trending in the Hollywood industry and whether the original or the upgrade is even better. So lots of fun things coming at you today, but make sure you're following us on social media so you can participate in some of these things before the show even gets started. Speaking of which, the first thing is actually going to be our poll. So over on YouTube, we like to post polls every week, and we asked you guys, would you ever rent your clothes for vacation? Now, you guys can vote in this right now. We're going to be starting the poll, but over on YouTube, so far it looks like I'd Try It is in the lead. So here are the options here. So would you ever rent your clothes abroad? All you're going to do is type 1 for definitely. I would absolutely rent my clothes abroad because vacation outfits, sometimes I only want to wear them once, but I wouldn't purchase them myself. So comment 1 if it's definitely. Comment 2 if you think, yeah, you'd try renting your clothes. It sounds sustainable and maybe fun to switch up your outfits while on vacation. Comment number 3 for maybe I'd rent my clothes, only for like a special event or to match the local culture. And comment number 4, if you are like, no, absolutely not, I'd rather buy my own clothes. So looks like Obella Mafia and Mary are in the chat already saying that they would try it. Oh, looks like we have Mary as well. We have Ben. We have a couple people already voting on this. This is a real live poll, you guys, that we're going to keep running for most of the show because we will have a segment later on where we're going to try to change your mind about it and maybe show you some of the pros and cons as well. So again, comment 1, 2, 3, or 4, and we will check back in on this poll when we bring on our guest later. Oh, we even have more coming in. All right, already changing. So we'll come back to this poll and see what you guys think about renting your clothes. But with that being said, let's hop into our first segment and talk a little bit about some of the entertainment news from this week, because I'm here to catch you guys up on all of the hot gossip. And this week was a pretty crazy one in pop news. So our first segment, you guys, you ready for this one? Because as a former NSYNC person, this one hurts. Is it time for Justin Timberlake to retire? Justin's Forget Tomorrow World Tour is underway in Europe, but fans are sharing their disappointment of the concert over on social media. Viral TikToks from his show him cringily dancing, barely singing, and essentially just making the crowd do all of the work. And social media has been brutal with comments like, y'all went to karaoke, he's bringing Lazy back, and I want a refund, and I didn't even go. And TikTokers are getting in on the joke with people challenging themselves to complete tasks in the time it takes for Timberlake to start singing again. But that's not the only criticism JT has been facing recently. During a recent show in England, he snapped at his crew on stage and the meltdown garnered millions of views. Then, of course, last year there was his DWI, where he went viral during his arrest for saying the iconic line, "This is going to ruin the tour." And looks like it may have actually ruined it, as fans are starting to sour towards the former NSYNC frontman. So I want to know from you, is this just a tired tour, or is it time for Justin to start ending his career? Let me know what you guys think in the comments about Justin Timberlake. In my opinion, no, Justin doesn't need to retire. He's fine. This is one of the biggest pop stars of our generation. I just think he's tired. Mind you, it is important to note that he actually canceled a few shows on this tour from the flu because he got a little sick. And so I think he's just tired. It's been a long tour and he needs to take a break. And if anything, I think the backlash is great because he's going to take a look at this viral meme trend, and I think he's going to start stepping it up in his upcoming shows. So I'll be curious to keep my eye on TikTok and see how his upcoming performances go. So no, I don't think Justin should retire, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Moving on to our next segment. Is Pedro Pascal using his anxiety as an excuse to get handsy with his female co-stars? Pedro Pascal and his co-star Vanessa Kirby have been turning heads this week during their press tour for Fantastic Four: First Steps. They've been seen holding hands, caressing each other's faces, and being very affectionate towards one another. Now, Pedro has openly discussed using physical touch to ground himself while feeling anxious, especially during the Avengers press tour. But what began as wholesome praise has turned into a viral meme on X, where users point out that he only gets anxious around beautiful women. So now this viral hot girl anxiety has taken over the app, and honestly, they've turned so X-rated that I cannot even show you them. So looks like America's sweetheart is starting to be labeled as an inappropriate creep. But I want to know from you guys, is Pedro just showing charming, affectionate, platonic friendship or boundary crossing creepiness? In my opinion, no, Pedro's fine. He's not being creepy. I think that a lot of men tend to sexualize any type of touch from a woman when it can be totally and reasonably platonic. Now, what I also think with Pedro is that don't say I didn't warn you guys, because just a few episodes ago, I said that I think it's a matter of time before the internet turns on Pedro. And that's because of fatigue from him. He's in 3 movies right now, you guys. Eddington, The Materialist, and of course, Fantastic Four. And when you start getting oversaturated, the internet starts to find reasons to hate you. And I feel like this one is just grasping at straws. Plus, the other thing is consent. Vanessa Kirby is consensually being affectionate with him as well. So no, I don't think he's being creepy. I think people just trust him and he's emotionally available. Can we highlight that comment from Obella Mafia? This one is actually, this one's for Justin Timberlake. But that one, she says that, no, we don't want him to retire. So I agree on Justin Timberlake as well. And I also think that, no, Pedro Pascal is not being creepy. But let me know what you guys think in the comments and if we're going to see the internet continue to turn on Pedro in the future. But moving on into our next one. Do you ever wish you can get an orgasm from Harry Styles? Well, now you can, because Harry Styles has launched a new sex toy line called Pleasing Yourself. So his genderless lifestyle brand called Pleasing already has a line of apparel, nail polish, and fragrances. But their latest sexy expansion includes a double-sided vibrator and a bottle of lube. In suggestive posts to the Pleasing Instagram, Styles himself invited fans to, quote, please yourself like you mean it, in a sexy voiceover and handwritten note. So these items launched this week along with limited edition condoms in partnership with Planned Parenthood. And you guys, everything is already sold out, showing that people demand more sex toys from Harry Styles. But I want to know from you guys, are you surprised by this X-rated product launch from a celebrity? In my opinion, no, I am not surprised. I actually think this is a perfect product launch for Harry Styles. And that's because, yes, he is a sex symbol. He is a rock star. He's got that going for him. But his brand is not about raunchiness. It's about sex positivity. You know, he's all about gender bending and sexual fluidity, that I feel like this is perfectly aligned with his brand. It's not so much risque as opposed to sex positivity. Now, will I be buying a Harry Styles sex toy? Maybe. Actually, no, probably not. It's $68 and it's already sold out. But once they get restocked, I want to know from you guys if you might be purchasing any more Harry Styles sex toys from his collection, because I think the demand is showing that we might be seeing more from this. So let me know of your thoughts on this Pleasing Yourself line. All right, and our last pop news segment. In political news, President Trump has a micro penis. According to the latest episode of South Park, that is. Yes, the season premiere of South Park takes a flaming hot jab at President Donald Trump by literally putting him in bed with Satan and mocking his manhood. Classic South Park chaos. But what's interesting about this story is the timing and the Paramount Pictures element of it. So backing up a little bit, earlier this month, Paramount Pictures actually paid a $16 million lawsuit to President Trump. Then they ousted Stephen Colbert from The Late Show, presumably for his anti Trump humor. Fast forward a couple weeks, Paramount signed a $1.5 billion deal with the creators of South Park to create 50 new episodes. But get this, 10 hours later, the season premiere episode dropped, and it was scathing against both Paramount and Donald Trump. So we'll see if that expensive joke will cost them in the future. Now, the White House could not take the joke, and a spokesperson called the show fourth-rate and irrelevant. But if you're curious to see what other hot takes they bring into season 27, you can check out all of the upcoming episodes streaming on Paramount Plus. But let me know what you guys think. Did you catch this episode? Was it too harsh, or was it right on the nose for mocking the president? Let me know your guys' thoughts. But that's going to be it for our pop news segment. But stay tuned, because we're going to be bringing on our guest host, who's going to be talking all about travel and fashion. We'll be right back. All right. We want to take this graphic off. I was like, not there. We'll let that part out. All right, perfect. All right. Our next guest has traveled to over 50 countries, but she doesn't just visit, she immerses. From traditional outfits to local customs, she brings to life everywhere she goes through beautiful storytelling and stunning fashion. Please welcome our guest for today, Linsey Olson.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Hi, Linsey. Where are you calling in from?
I am currently in Philadelphia. I live half and half between New York City, which is where my place is, and Philadelphia, which is where my boyfriend's place is.
Oh, makes sense. So going back and forth then. Well, welcome to the show. We're excited to hear about you. But of course, tell us first a little bit about yourself and your love of fashion, because your Instagram is absolutely stunning. We're going to be showing everybody so many content ideas from it. But tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I am originally from the Seattle area. I've been living in New York for the last 8 years. I've been living in Philly also basically for the last 2 years. And I would say my love of fashion comes from my mom. My mom is from Mexico. And anyone who's familiar with Mexico and just Mexicans, we are like the most colorful dressers ever. So like my love of just like patterns and colors and everything, I think really came from that. Like I am a very bold, colorful dresser. Unlike what you see with a lot of New Yorkers, there are no neutrals, there are no beiges, there are no blacks, like no whites, none of that in my wardrobe.
So true. I love that. Okay, then where did your love for travel coming from?
Also, I would say my mom. Like I really did grow up traveling with my parents, but a lot of it also came, I would say, through, and this might be familiar to some people, but it came through heartbreak. Like when I was in my 20s, I went through some heartbreak, and to try to get over through it, I started doing some solo travel because I just needed to figure out like what can I do to get myself through this. And that's when I really discovered like I liked my own company. I liked the things that I did on my own, and I really found this love for travel and exploring the world.
I can relate to that so much, because I think the first big trip that I took was a solo trip after a breakup. So spot on that. You learn to love yourself, but then you also realize, hey, I get to choose whatever I want to do on my own trip. This is going to be the best trip ever. So I love that. So then in regards to some of your traveling then, what I want to know is, do you have any underrated destinations that you would recommend? Because you've been over 50 countries. Are there any places that you're like, not enough people are going here and they absolutely should?
I love this question so much, and my boyfriend would probably make fun of me because I talk about this country so much. Is Albania. I love Albania so
Ooh.
much. I thought the people were so nice. They are so welcoming. They'll literally be like, "Do you want to come see my house?" Like they're so nice.
I love
The
that.
food was amazing. It's beautiful. Like some of the cities that you have the same kind of architecture, like those stacked houses up on the hills that you would have in like Italy or Greece, but without the crowds, because like you said, people just haven't discovered it yet. I don't know if I should even be telling you guys because I don't want people to discover it because I don't want it to get so
Yeah.
crowded, but it's so
Yep.
beautiful. And the people are amazing.
I love that note. Yes, you don't want to gatekeep, but also like don't get it too crowded in that sense. But that's a great answer because that's not a place I would ever think about going. But just based on your Instagram content alone, you can tell me to go anywhere in the world and I will go because we're going to do a little content showcase of some of your stuff just to give people an idea of not only the beautiful photos that you're taking, but also the incredibly gorgeous locations that you're going to. Because if we want to go to the first photo coming up next, I'm going to ask you a few questions based off of your Instagram content. So the first is, of course, you've been over to 50 countries. How do you decide which country to visit next? What's your process of picking your next destination?
That's a good question. So, part of it, I do have a short list. So
Mm-hmm.
this year, Tom, my boyfriend, and I, we went to Romania and Moldova. So Romania, we had been wanting to go to Transylvania. Like that's something that had been on our list for a long time. We love Dracula, we love the book and the story, and we had wanted to go to like Dracula's castle. So that's something we'd been wanting
Mm-hmm.
to do. And then Moldova's right next door. It's the least visited country in Europe. So we're like, you know what, let's add that on. But then
Mm-hmm.
other is just cheap deals. Like we're going to Norway in a few weeks because I found $450 round trip flights. Like you find a deal like that, you jump on it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering if it was like based on what pops up and what just seems like a good idea. But I'm sure you have those everlasting ones of, we'll make this a trip once, some of the deals kind of go by. But a Norway trip, that sounds incredible. And so that one came up because of the deal you said?
Exactly. And I want to eventually go everywhere. Like I wanted to go to Norway. It's on my pretty much
Mhm.
everywhere is on my list. So if a deal pops up to somewhere that I haven't been, like I'm going.
I love that. And Norway sounds beautiful in that case. Our next
Yeah.
photo that we have to show from your Instagram. So clearly, you visit a lot of museums and historical landmarks during your travels. That seems to be a big, important part when you're
Yes.
visiting. So, how much is the history a consideration in when you decide your itineraries for all of your trips?
I'm obsessed with history. Like I listen to books on history, I watch shows on history, like I'm just obsessed with it. There are some specific pieces of history that I'm particularly inclined to. Like I really love Tudor history. I really love the Romanovs. I'm dying to go to Russia and like that's not gonna happen for a long time because of I really loathe the guy because he makes it so I can't go. Um,
Yep.
but history factors in the itineraries I make absolutely. Like I am not going to a place without going to museums. I'm not going to a place without learning about the history and the culture. I want to immerse myself in the culture as much as I can. Um, and that's not just history museums, but it's also like ethnographic museums. For example, in Albania, in Romania, there are places that you're able to go where you can learn not just about the history, but about the culture, about how people live,
Mm.
about their
Mhm.
traditions. And so I really like doing stuff like that as well.
What I also love about your Instagram, you guys have to go check it out. Her captions are so educational and informational. She's not just going to these museums, she is passing along all of the information to you. Because as I was just scrolling through your Instagram, I learned so much about Macedonia, like all these different places that history definitely has a special place in your heart. But I also love that you're sharing that as well. And if we want to go to the next photo, one of the other things that you love to share as well is some of the local fashion. So tell us about how much of a consideration the fashion is when you're picking your outfits and traveling.
Yeah. So I try to on most of my trips to either rent or buy a local traditional outfit. So both of these in the photo, one of these was in North Macedonia, and the North Macedonia one, which is the photo on the left. This one I bought in an antique store. And I will say, when the locals see an American girl interested in their traditional outfits, they are so excited. Like you can see that it brings them joy and I think joy that someone so young is interested, because they are so excited to like put it on me and take photos of me in it, and stuff. And then when I walk around in it, because I'll usually wear it to an interesting site or something where I can get a cool photo in it, something immersed, the locals seem very excited to see me wearing it. So in North Macedonia, that was an outfit that's like 100 years old, and I felt really, really excited
Wow.
and proud to wear it. And I want it to be in a way that's very respecting and appreciative of the culture. On the right, that was the lehenga that I purchased when I was in India, which the lehenga is, I think, um, a traditional but modern outfit. It's something that you'll see at a lot of Indian weddings, and I think it is absolutely one of the most beautiful outfits any country has. And so I
Mhm.
had it custom made when I was out there, and I love my lehenga so much. I wore it everywhere I could in India. I
Yes.
was so obsessed with it.
Oh, I can imagine. We're going to have more fashion and culture questions for you in an upcoming segment. But the last question we have during your little showcase here is your photos are stunning, and we absolutely need to know what is the key to getting the perfect Instagram photo? What is your secret?
Um, lighting. Lighting is really important. Um, so I think waiting for a cloud, if you can, is really helpful versus being like trying to wait, or trying to just do it right when there's the sun. I think the other thing is looking for spots where people aren't. So, for example, there's going to be the spot where
Mm.
everybody wants to go take their picture, right? And you have to wait in line. And then there's a lot of people that are in the background. And then you might find a spot where nobody's going. This in front of the Taj Mahal was a spot that people just missed, because there's this like Princess Diana spot, right? Where Diana took her picture, and it's on the bench, right? And everybody's in line to take a picture at the bench. This is down from that bench, just slightly below it, and nobody noticed it.
Oh,
And
see,
so
that's
it's
smart.
for those spots that nobody's paying attention to. And this one is amazing, obviously, because it's like that straight shot of the Taj Mahal. Sometimes at
Mhm.
another site, maybe you don't have that straight traditional site, or shot of it. You have a different angle, but I really try to focus on not having people in my photos. The other thing, going
Yes.
early. Earlier in the day that you
Mm.
go, the less likely you're going to have people in your photos, the better lighting you're going to have as well, because like the middle of the day is when the sun is really bright and it's going to cast a lot of shadows on you. So I mean, there have
Mhm.
been times when I have gone at 6 in the morning. I remember once I went in Colombia to the middle of the like main square in Bogota in Colombia. I
Yeah.
was the only one there, and I had a photo of
Mm.
myself in the Times Square equivalent in Bogota,
Wow.
Colombia, and I'm the only person there.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got to go early, we got to get good lighting, and you may have to go for the more unconventional spot in order to not get people in there. I love that. Those are solid tips because your photos are absolutely gorgeous. But now we're going to ask you some questions based on some social media viral videos that we've seen, because I think we can get some fun stories out of you. So, the first question, if we want to show that first video. So, over on TikTok, Princess Cherry shared that she loved dressing up in some of the local Egyptian fashion while visiting that country. If you could live in any country for the fashion alone, where would it be?
India.
Ooh, okay, why there?
Oh my god, I died for the fashion in India. Like, one, I you already showed the picture of the lehenga that I bought, but
Uh-huh.
India, I mean, the clothing is so beautiful. It's actually probably, oh man, now I'm thinking of another country. Shopping in Turkey was also amazing. Okay, best
Ooh,
shopping
Turkey.
ever in
Okay.
India and Turkey. Um,
Okay.
Turkey, I think, had the best shopping in terms of like stuff that I would wear on an everyday basis, versus India
Mhm.
has the best fashion as far as like stuff I would probably just wear in India. But I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I continue to wear here. Um, but India, it was just like they have so many different areas of India with their own local outfits. So there was
Mhm.
so much diversity in what you would wear in different regions of India, and all of it was so stunning and ornate. And so I just think it's so, so beautiful. But Turkey's a
Ooh.
really good one
Mhm.
too, because there's just an abundance of shopping. In Istanbul, there is this one street, and it's just store after store after store, and it was
Yeah.
hard to control myself.
Oh, I can imagine. But that is a great answer because your photos in all of your Indian apparel were beautiful. So I love that answer. Our next video. So over on TikTok, Roya shares funny culture shock moments from her travels, like trying to order a vanilla soy latte while in France. What has been your biggest culture shock moment while you've been traveling?
So I've been very lucky to have limited culture shock. Um, I speak 3 languages. So I speak Spanish because
Wow.
my mom is from Mexico. I've spoken Spanish since I was a child. And I speak French as I've been studying French since I was a child. Um,
Oh,
I
jealous.
also studied German in college. So, like, not great, but passable. So I've been like, for example, it's helpful in a lot of countries, and this extends to Africa, for example, because colonization, but they speak a lot of those
Mhm.
European languages. Um, Asia, fortunately, there has been enough English that
Mm.
like it's been okay getting by. So I will say I haven't had too many issues with languages. Um, the only times that I would say that I can think that I really had a challenge was in the middle of Slovakia, and I rented a car and
Ooh.
I was trying to get to this castle, to Bonice Castle, and I realized I probably would need cash because it was in a small town and this was before Google Translate. Um, I'm by myself in a car in the middle of nowhere in Slovakia, trying to figure out how to ask somebody for an ATM. No one speaks English in the absolute middle of
Mm.
nowhere. And so I would say that was probably the most challenging. That was the first time I was ever in somewhere where there was no English and it was a language that did not have roots in English, Spanish, French, or German.
Oh, I can imagine that would be challenging, especially when you start to panic of like, "Oh gosh, how am I going to get money here?" But you're
And
an
like
expert
none of our
traveler that
languages work.
yeah. Yes, I was like, "Wait, I thought I was prepared like all those years of schooling, but I guess not for that location." But good to know that
Yeah.
you haven't experienced too many horror stories out there. So hopefully it
No,
encourages
I've been
more
very
people to
lucky.
travel. Good. Oh my god, I love that. Okay, and the last question that we have for you. So, over on TikTok, Julia Gal, she's a luxury travel influencer who shares her when you're balling on a budget and you can't afford such a luxurious travel vacation. Any destinations you recommend?
So, Southeast Asia is a really good place
Okay.
for that. South America is also a really good place for that. Southeast Asia, the flight's not cheap, but
Right.
you can live like a queen once you're there. Um, you can stay in hotels for, you know, I unfortunately don't know what the budget prices are because
Right.
I'm 36 years old, so I don't stay at like
Yeah.
the $10-$20 places anymore.
Yeah.
But I
You
will
treat
say
yourself.
like, but I will say when I was in Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam last year, I spent $100 a night and we had like a private pool. Like we had the nicest places I've ever stayed at for $100 a night. In the United
Okay.
States, that like doesn't even get you a very good place in most cities.
No.
So, like, you can get really, really nice places, and I would say the same for South America. Like in Colombia, my money went very, very far. In Peru, my money went very far. So I would say South America and Southeast Asia are probably the most economic places. Albania was, as I mentioned, Albania and North Macedonia, which I did both of those countries in one trip, were also very affordable.
Oh,
Um,
that's a great
and kind of
answer.
one
I
thing that
love that.
you
Yeah.
mentioned about like me putting history and like facts in all of my captions, I wanted to kind of be the antithesis to that luxury traveler. Like I saw this whole like, and they've got their own thing. They've got their own thing. I think there is a place for everything, but I really did see this criticism at people thinking that all influencers do is just like push products and that it's kind of like a vapid thing that is just like
Mhm.
girls being hot and good for them,
Yeah.
good for hot girls,
Yep.
love
Right.
hot girls.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
wanted to show that there was more than just like pushing products and just like bodies and stuff, and that there could be educational value to Instagram. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to bring something like that, but I also know that aesthetics are such a big thing about Instagram. And
Mhm.
I noticed that the better my aesthetics were, the more engagement I got and the more interest. And so I figured that if I can make my photos really pretty and if I can put fashion to it, then I can get more readership and I can get more people learning. And so that's what I really
Mhm.
wanted to do with my page.
I love that because I can so relate in the sense of, you know, you got to create the engaging content, but after a while, you enjoy the creative process and you get excited about like, okay, what outfit am I going to wear? Where am I going to like have the photo? But it's to serve the purpose of what your true pillar of your content is, and that is sharing the information of the travel, the history, the culture of the places. And I think that that's such an important thing that you're doing in addition to having beautiful pictures to look at, because we absolutely do love that. And we're going to get a little bit more into some of the fashion and beautiful pictures that you're taking because we're going to be talking about renting your clothes abroad. So we're going to hop into
Uh,
this next segment
Changed
here
my
and we're going to
life.
talk, yes, because we're going to be talking a little bit more about this. So, when it comes to traveling in style, Linsey Olson is an expert because she doesn't just pack outfits at all. No, no, no. She will dress to blend in based on where she's traveling. So, with over 50 countries under her belt, she's mastered the art of respecting local culture through fashion. But now she's sharing the brilliant idea that I don't think enough people are doing, and that's renting your clothes while traveling. So before we hop into this, though, we're going to take a look at that poll again and get an update here and see what you guys think. So, again, this is a live interactive poll, and we want to know your thoughts. And I also see some comments here in social media. We're going to come back to those at the end here and comment on those here. But you can still vote on the poll. So the question is, would you ever rent your clothes for a vacation? Oh, already changing here. So comment 1 if you definitely rent your clothes and you think it's a genius idea. Comment 2 if you try it, if you think it'd be fun to switch it up on vacation. Comment number 3 if you're like, maybe for a special event or to match the local culture. And comment number 4 if you're like, nah, I am not about renting my clothes. I will buy my own clothes, not for it. So far, number 2, I'd try it, is in the lead. We have comments from Kiki. Hey, Kiki, good to see you. Mary, Obella. We got lots of people in the comments here, and it's switching up. But we're going to see if we can change your mind because Linsey is going to be telling us more. So you have until the end of this segment to get your votes in and see what we think about renting our clothes. So, Linsey, tell us about how you rent your clothes while traveling abroad.
Yeah, so there's two different ways that I rent clothing. One is through Rent the Runway. So I have a monthly subscription to Rent the Runway. This is something that I've been doing for years now. I think I've been doing this for 6 or 7 years. So I will kind of vary how many I do depending on like how many trips am I doing? Is this going to be a longer or a shorter trip? But I might vary, anywhere from 7 items a month to 12 items a month. And so I will order the items on Rent the Runway for my trip. And this is really great because I can choose these items based on where I'm going. So, for example, when I went to Alaska, I ordered a bunch of coats and sweaters and items that would keep me warm, which is really great because I've lived in a lot of places. At the time I was in Arizona, I didn't have a lot of coats. Um, and so I can also order, for example, when I go to a more conservative culture. For example, I've been to some places in the Middle East. I'm much more cognizant of ordering things with high necks, shoulders covered, knees covered, things that are respectful. Um, when I go to Mexico or I go somewhere more tropical, I'm much more apt to order really, really colorful things. Think Farm Rio type of brands and stuff like that that are gonna have like fruits on them and stuff like that.
Mhm.
When I went to Romania, I ordered vampy, dark, stuff like that that I was thinking for Transylvania. So I really like Rent the Runway because I can just really feel the aesthetic. Greece, of course, I ordered like whites and blues and stuff like that
Yes.
that make me think of Greece. So I love that with Rent the Runway, and it saved me a ton of money because for the subscription, I don't shop anymore. Like I don't regularly buy clothing; I just rent, and so I've saved so much money in the long run because I'm not impulse buying, which is great because
Mhm.
I had a problem with impulse
Yeah.
buying.
Oh my God, same. So I used to do Newly, and it's so funny because when I was going through your Instagram, you have so many outfits that I've rented for vacations before, specifically Farm Rio, because I love
I
their
love
style and
Farm
their pops of
This
color.
is Farm Rio rented that I have on right now.
Yes, I was gonna ask because it looks so spot on. But I love what you're saying in the
And I've
sense that
recognized girls on
yes,
the
you're
street and been like, "Did you rent that from me?" Like,
yep, yep, and it's so true. But it's also so true in the sense that yeah, you're paying a monthly subscription, but you're saving money because I have the same problem that I like a little retail therapy, and I was
yes.
spending money on outfits for a vacation, wearing it once. And then just
Yep.
donating it to Goodwill a year later when I never wore it again. That it made so much more sense to rent my clothes
Yep.
for those trips where I wouldn't necessarily buy it for it,
And it's
you know,
bad
in
for
that
your
case.
wallet and it's bad for the environment. And that I think really,
Hmm.
really, like as I got older, started to really dawn on me is like the fast fashion is so bad for the environment. I was seeing photos of all of the discarded clothing in like the Atacama Desert and stuff like that. And it really upset me. And then I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. Um,
Yes.
but anyways, getting back onto the second part of renting. So one is the rent the runway, and
Hmm.
that's where I prep all of the clothing in advance. But then
Okay.
there are many, many countries where you can rent local traditional outfits. So like you had shown a picture that was from India. And that was one where
Hmm.
there was just a man at that site who had a bunch of outfits that you could put on to take photos at that site. And I loved that outfit. It was so pretty. It was at a Stepwell. This one was in Albania, and this was at a store that just did rentals. And this is in a UNESCO heritage site town. So like a very cute, historic, traditional type town. And so especially when you go to those UNESCO heritage types of sites that are, known for tourism, you might find these kind of places where they will rent you these traditional type of outfits. So I do my best whenever I travel to take at least one photo in some type of traditional outfits. I found this especially easy to find this in Thailand. They had them everywhere in Thailand. Like when you go to temples, they have lots of outfits that you can rent, and they're so pretty. I love the traditional Thai outfit. I was able to do this in Cambodia. I was able to do this in Vietnam when I went hiking at this one mountain, and I wore the most gorgeous outfit. It came with a hairpiece that was like braided into my hair, and it was so cool. And I was at the top of this mountain called Dragon Mountain in this like amazing, like wool, like kind of, it was so cool. So I love, love, love renting the traditional outfits. And there was just a stand at the mountain where you could rent it. So I love doing that. And it's cool. Locals, yeah, I always think like I kind of weighed back and forth between myself with like, is this cultural appropriation? Is this weird that I'm, a white, I mean, I'm Mexican, but like I'm a white girl.
Hmm.
It's
Right.
weird that I'm a white
American.
girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
that I'm like a white girl doing it, but like the locals seem to really like it. Like, and I'm not like profiting off it. I'm just doing it because it's really pretty and I really like sharing it with the world. And the
Yeah.
locals do seem to really like it. Like they really do smile at you and they do seem to like seeing foreigners appreciate their culture.
Because I feel like what you described is not cultural appropriation, but a cultural appreciation,
Yeah.
especially because you are taking the steps to learn about the culture, to learn about the importance of all of it, and share that wisdom with your followers as well. That I think you do it in such a respectful way that people can learn from you. Where if you go, especially if you're walking around and you find those stores and they're so excited to dress you up, they're already saying, nope, it's not appropriation if we want to get you into these outfits. So I absolutely love that. Can we go to the next photo? I just want to make sure we're on the. Okay, yeah. So
Oh my
one of
god,
my
that
other
was
questions
so
was,
fun.
okay, yeah. So tell me about this one here.
That one was so fun. That was another guy who was just like on the street, like like in India. This one was in Jaipur, which is the pink city, and it's like one of the coolest places in India. Like everything is pink. They did it for when I think it was Queen Victoria was coming to the city, and they were like, paint everything pink. It's so cool. It's like the most amazing city. But this was just another guy that was just like on the side of the street, and he had a bunch of outfits, and you just give him some money, and he'll let you dress up.
Okay.
And
Okay, that
and
is
so
so helpful to know. Yuck. Because I was going to
yeah,
say that I wasn't sure if you like do your research and go to a store and rent them out, but it sounds like you can actually stumble upon renting your clothes pretty easily.
In India, this one and the other one you showed from India, like a few slides, those were just dudes that were there. So those are really
Oh, how
easy. The
funny.
Albanian one, I had to hunt out a lot more. So that one was like definitely took some hunting and some like Googling or asking around. So it really depends. Same with I think Cambodia, we had to kind of hunt around versus again with Thailand, lots, like super easy to find
Mhm.
them. Romania, I didn't find any. Um, Actually,
Okay.
no, you know what? At the very end of Romania, I did end up buying um some traditional outfits, but they weren't like it was more like Romanian like woven outfits. Like it was, but it wasn't like the traditional cultural outfit. It was just like you can tell this is like a Romanian, you know,
Yeah.
design. But like I didn't
Mhm.
find anything that was renting like a, like there was one that you could buy and it was very expensive. And I was like, well, I can't keep buying really expensive
Yeah.
cultural outfits that I only wear
Right.
once.
Right. But then let me ask this if we want to go to the next photo. So let's say you've rented the clothes and you've fallen in love with them, or you're just out and about shopping. Do you also purchase some of these cultural items for yourself?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, like Rent the Runway has saved me a ton of money because I don't shop very much anymore, especially in the United States. But I do let myself shop when I find something amazing when I'm traveling abroad. So, for example, this dress, I thought it was so cool. It was unique. I'd never seen anything like it. It has like a whole medieval battle going on it, and then I was wearing it when I went to this castle or this fortress. This was the fortress of Skanderbeg, who is this Albanian
Ooh.
icon who basically prevented the Ottomans from taking over Albania at the time, and like basically prevented the Ottomans from like getting to Rome, and like that's part of the reason why like Islam didn't come further into Europe. Like Europe could have been
Mm.
even more Islamic. Like obviously the like Albania is an Islamic country. They eventually were conquered by the Ottomans, but it's possible that like the Ottomans could have gotten further into Europe, but Skanderbeg along with like Vlad the Impaler and like a bunch of guys, they like kind of stopped them. And so I'm in Skanderbeg's fortress and this picture behind me is of one of those battles and I'm literally wearing a dress with like a
Oh.
battle and I thought it was so cool. But yes, I saw that dress. The funny thing is it's labeled Dolce and Gabbana. It is not. It's a not.
That's
It's
just the
not
label,
Dolce.
not actually the brand.
It
Not the
cost me
brand.
like
No.
$50.
Oh my gosh. I was like, then you got a great deal on Dolce and Gabbana if that's the case.
But
But also $50 for this dress is also
it's
insane because
gorgeous.
this is
I love this
stunning.
dress.
Yes. This is one of those things that you have to buy. You absolutely,
One of a
especially
kind.
when it's like a yeah, one of a kind piece. You're traveling abroad. It has that story, that sentimentality, but also it's that gorgeous. No, I stand behind that decision. That's the time where it is okay to do some retail therapy. So
Yeah.
good to know that even when you do rent, you still can treat yourself every now and then, especially when it comes to appreciating some of the local culture. So I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. We did have a couple of questions from our social media comments. So, Obella Mafia over here on YouTube asks, did you like the quality of clothing in Turkey and India? So, you mentioned that those were two of your favorite fashion places. How was the quality of the clothing there?
I think like any place that you shop, you're gonna see a variation, right? So like there was a dress that I got in India for like $2.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not the highest quality that you're gonna see, but then
Right.
like the lehenga I got cost me like $500. Like, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
one in a lifetime kind of purchase. And like I have a friend who's Bangladeshi. Like when she gets married, I'm gonna wear that lehenga to her wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Pays for
and
itself.
I wore that lehenga multiple times throughout India. Like that is one of the highest quality items I've ever purchased. Same with other outfits that I bought. The what you spend on an item often is going to correspond with the quality. And not always, like, I have my thoughts on places like Urban Outfitters where I think you pay a lot of money for quality that isn't great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like any other country, again, you're going to see things that are really poor quality. You're going to see things that are really wonderful quality.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. And based on your views on fast fashion, which I totally agree with, that depends on how much you're spending, the brands that you're spending, and you have to have a good judge of character in terms of the apparel when you are out shopping. So that makes a lot of sense here. And the last
Yeah,
question
now
we have from you
outside of the
comes from yeah.
lehenga, Oh, I was gonna say outside
Yeah.
of the lehenga in India, though, like things are pretty cheap. Like India is a very, very affordable country in general, though. So, like, obviously,
Mhm.
something that is high quality there is still going to be a lot less expensive than something here.
That makes total sense. And good to know in case you guys feel like shopping when you're traveling abroad. Our last question comes from Mary over on YouTube. Mary wants to know, do you think fashion helps you connect with people when you travel? Great question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think when you're wearing a statement piece or something interesting, it makes people much more likely to come up to you and like talk to you about your item. Also, I normally have green hair extensions. I just took them out because it's miserably hot this summer, so I like
Yeah.
don't want them right. But I normally have the green hair extensions and I get a lot of attention, especially in other countries, because like they don't really see that very much. I would say that's a lot more of an American thing.
Mhm.
In India, people ask to take, and that's also like an American thing. Like I think they just do it with a lot of white foreigners in particular. They all want to take pictures with you. I had a group of like 20
Oh,
people that
funny.
literally were like from way across like a lake were like, "Hi, hi, hi," and they followed me all over and they were like, "Can we take a picture with you? Can we take a picture?" And it's like it's endearing. It's really
And
sweet.
you're like, sure.
Uh,
And like you said too, when you're going and renting the clothes and you have these people wanting to dress you, I feel like that also
yes.
definitely helps you connect with them and connect with the culture. So that totally makes sense how fashion can help you bridge that gap in connecting with the local culture, sounds like.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and when you're going out and about and you're wearing a local outfit and they can tell you're not from there and you're wearing their local outfit, it starts a conversation. I had a little girl in Albania when I was wearing that Albanian outfit that you showed, and she just came up and gave me a hug. It was so
Oh, oh my
cute.
gosh. That is so heartwarming. I
My mom got
love
the
that.
cutest picture of it.
Yeah, okay, good. As long as you got a photo of it, because that's
Yeah.
just too cute to not share. I love that. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and sharing some of your content with us. So you mentioned that your upcoming trip is to Norway. When is that going to be?
Yeah, so I'm going to Norway over Labor Day weekend.
Okay. So coming up soon. So to everybody watching at home, make sure to go follow Lindsay on Instagram because I imagine we're going to be getting some content from that trip. Can we look
Yep,
forward to that, Lindsay? Okay,
absolutely.
good
And
to
shout out
yes.
to my boyfriend Tom because he's my photographer and he does a great job.
Oh my gosh. Tom, chef's kiss, the composition, the photography. He knows to wait for the cloud with the lighting.
Yes,
So
he
send my
knows to
kudos
wait
to
for the
him.
cloud.
He knows. You've trained him well. He is a great Instagram boyfriend. So grab
I
your
have trained
Instagram
him well.
boyfriends and travel and make sure you're renting your clothes abroad. And if you're not ready for that trip, at least go follow Lindsay for some inspiration and beautiful photos. But Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us. We'll follow you on social media and I'll be talking to you soon. But thanks again for
Thank you.
joining
This
us
was a
today.
blast. I'm so happy I got to join you today.
Yes, I know. It's so nice, like talking to you virtually and all that. But to our viewers at home, stay tuned because we have one last game coming your way for this show. So we'll be right back. Okay. Oh, am I still live? Yeah, I got Nick. You can send it to. All right, so hopefully that convinced you guys to rent your clothes abroad. And you know what? We actually are going to check back in on that poll one last time and see the final results of what you guys think about renting your clothes while abroad. So we asked you guys, would you ever rent your clothes for a vacation? The final answer was people still think that they'd try it. So I think we did. I think we did convert some people there because I think the nah was a little bit further down the line. But sounds like people are definitely interested in renting their clothes abroad. So thank you guys to everybody who voted. And thanks again to Linsey for joining us. But we got one last segment coming your way, and we need you guys to participate in the comments below. So here's how it's going to work. Because let me tell you about what we got going on here. So reboots, remakes, and sequels and live action reimaginings are all over the place with Hollywood, especially with the new Jurassic World Rebirth movie and the new Lilo and Stitch live adaptation. And just this week, we saw the premiere of Fantastic Four First Steps, which of course is another iteration of the Fantastic Four franchise. That one stars Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, and we're going to talk about him in a second here coming up. But the internet has been ablaze about this constant trend of reboots and sequels, and has a lot of people wondering, are we losing the plot here? Are we losing our creativity? Or does Hollywood need to come up with some more ideas instead of just cashing in on the past? So let's settle this debate once and for all, you guys. Did Hollywood get it right the first time with the original, or did they get it right with the upgrade? We're going to find out because I have 5 original or upgrades coming at you guys, and you're going to vote on which one was better. So to do that, all you're going to do is comment right below 1 or 2 based on your answer. And I think this one might be a little interesting because we have some hot takes coming your way. So let's hop into some of these face-offs and find out if you guys prefer the original or the upgrade. So our first poll, of course, we have to keep it trending, and we've been talking about them. Do you prefer the Fantastic Four movie from 2005 or Fantastic Four First Steps that just premiered this weekend? So comment number 1 or comment number 2 based on your answers. Now, if you haven't gotten a chance to see the new Fantastic Four movie starring Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, go see it because the reviews are wonderful. What I think is cool about this movie is that it has a retro futuristic feel to it as opposed to a traditional superhero movie like the original one. So my vote, I'm going with the latest Fantastic Four movie. I enjoyed the first Fantastic Four. We are not going to talk about the one that they made a couple years ago with Miles Teller. That one is not even on my radar in the sense of it being included in this. So we're going to go with these 2 Fantastic Four movies. So you guys got 5 seconds left. Get your comments in. I see Julie in the chat. I see Obella Mafia. We see Danielle, Christina. Looks like you guys prefer the 2005 Fantastic Four. Maybe because you haven't seen the new Fantastic Four yet. That is currently out in theaters, so go check it out. And if you guys are watching from at home on TikTok, on Instagram, comment down below which one you guys prefer. I'm surprised by that one, but it gets even crazier. Let's hop into our next poll. Our next face-off for original or upgrade. Which is the better movie, Shrek 1 or Shrek 2? Now, this is a classic sequel and possibly the best sequel that's ever been made according to the internet. So go ahead and get your comments in, you guys. Comment 1 or 2 if you like Shrek 1 or Shrek 2. My answer, I think Shrek 1 was a perfect fairy tale. I think Shrek 2 was a perfect fairy tale with a banger soundtrack, with a cat and a sword, and with a fairy godmother serving vocals. Fun fact, I sang Holding Out for a Hero in my high school show choir concert because that's how much of an impact Shrek 2 made. But of course, you can't go wrong with the original that started the whole franchise and spanned almost too many movies, especially because Shrek has a new reboot coming out next year as well. We'll have to see how that one goes, but get your answers in, you guys. You guys disagree with me and you think that Shrek 1, the original, nailed it, and that the upgrades aren't as good in comparison. Interesting. I thought Shrek 2 would win that one because over on TikTok, it seems to be a consensus that Shrek 2 is the perfect sequel. So if you're watching this from home, comment down below what you think is the better Shrek of these 2. I like you guys. You stick with the originals, but this one might cause a little bit of debate here because in our next head-to-head face-off for original or upgrade might cause some discourse here. So, who is your Spider-Man? Number 1, Tobey Maguire, or number 2, Tom Holland? So, when it comes to original or reboot, this is more of an interpretation of the same character. Now, if your favorite is Andrew Garfield, we're not even counting him. He's right in the middle, and I feel like a lot of people don't choose him as their favorites. If you choose Andrew Garfield, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, comment 1 for Tobey Maguire, comment 2 for Tom Holland. Who is your Superman? Now, for me, it's tough. So with Tobey Maguire, I feel like he was serving existential dread and he was serving the trauma that is involved in his character. His little emo dancing haircut scene almost loses it for me. That one was almost unforgivable. So I love his interpretation, but I think Tom Holland nails the youngness of the role. Tobey Maguire kind of looks like he already has a 401k and a mortgage, whereas Tom Holland looks like a real high schooler. For me, I would go number 1, Tobey Maguire. Oh my gosh, that one went back and forth, but this one is a tie. Tom Holland almost had it, but the reviews are split. We got Mary, we got Margaret, we got a lot of people in the comments here. You guys are evenly split. Can't decide between Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland. So you guys watching at home, watching this on TikTok, let me know what you think. And comment if you think it's Andrew Garfield, Or, I also think, what's his name? Miles Morales from Spider-Verse. Kind of interesting here. But that also goes to show that Hollywood tends to recycle a lot of their ideas and use the same character over and over again. And we definitely see that with superheroes, but I want to know who the best Spider-Man you guys think is. All right, into our next head-to-head face-off for original or upgrade. So far, all of the OGs have been winning. So let's see if any of these upgrades can take over the lead in your guys' opinion. All right, so this one isn't quite a sequel or a reboot. It is a cross-medium adaptation for The Last of Us. So comment number 1 if you prefer the video game of The Last of Us, or comment number 2 if you prefer the HBO hit TV show The Last of Us. Now, a lot of people haven't played the video game, but let me tell you this. I have a funny story. So I used to date a Twitch streamer, and I would pop in on his stream to show my support, and he was playing through The Last of Us when it came out. I was enthralled because that video game plays out like a movie. You don't even realize that you're watching a video game. It is so cinematically beautiful that when the TV show came out, I didn't feel inclined to watch it because I was like, oh, I already know what happens. I already kind of watched it as a video game. And I thought that was so cool that the video game itself was such a beautifully cinematic masterpiece. But let me know what you guys think. What is the better Last of Us, the video game or the TV show? And this is another one that is evenly split down the middle. Looks like we have some video gamers in the chat, as well as some HBO Maxers as well. This show was absolutely beautiful. It, of course, got rave reviews. It is a huge show for HBO Max. But if you like your video games, definitely play through this one because I think it will not disappoint. Oh, you guys are still voting. Oh, there's still some discourse here, but that poll is closed. We're going to call it a dead even tie. So the original is still as good as the upgrade. Those two still hold up. But our last head-to-head face-off, I'm curious. I'm so curious to see what you guys think because this one is a reimagining or could also be seen as a prequel. So which one is better, The Wizard of Oz or Wicked? And I'm talking about the latest movie, Wicked. We can also include the Broadway play, but which one is better? Now, if you guys know me, you know what I'm going to say. I've seen over 100 musicals. Wicked is my life. I've seen it, I think, 5 times. My mom has seen the Wicked stage musical almost 15 times. That's 1-5. That's how amazing this show is. But what I love about Wicked is that it's a modern reinterpretation of it. And you go in expecting glitter and you come out questioning the good and evil in human nature. Now, of course, we can't discredit The Wizard of Oz being the first color movie as well. And if we were to go anthem for anthem, Somewhere Over the Rainbow is so iconic, but Defying Gravity, that's an anthem. That gets me going. So totally different time periods here, almost a century apart. So I want to know what's better, Wizard of Oz or Wicked? Looks like you guys agree with me that Wicked tops the original. Now, I did want to comment on this one as well because I see Julie in the chat. I see Andy, a few more people here. I think that with Wicked, what they did well in terms of a sequel, a reboot, a reimagining, is that they took a plot and kind of remixed it with an entirely new story. I think with Hollywood coming out with all of these recycled material, that this is how you do recycled material in a new, fresh way that keeps it interesting. So this is what I want to see more from Hollywood, is not just a classic, another Spider-Man movie with the same Uncle Ben dying plot that we all know. Switch up the plot, make it a prequel, but from a different perspective, a villain origin story. I think that is what's going to keep Hollywood fresh and unique. But thank you guys for playing, and good to know that at least sometimes the upgrade might be better than the original. And when we post these on social media, I want to hear from everybody else what you guys think. But that's going to be it for our game of original or upgrade. Shout out to Bella, Mary, Julie, Candy, Nick. I see a lot of people in the comments here. Thank you guys for playing along. All right, so let me put these down. I'll outro the show here. We can get rid of all this stuff while I say my goodbyes to my friends here on LiveStyles. Thank you guys so much for such a fun episode. This was so fun talking about some of the crazy pop culture news of the week. Again, let me know what you think about Pedro Pascal. He is making the headlines in terms of entertainment news. Again, because he's in 3 movies right now, including that reboot of Fantastic Four, which again, if you guys haven't seen, it's out in theaters now. And I want to know from you if you think it's better than the original Fantastic Four that came out in 2005. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you are following us on social media so you can participate in our polls, in our social media questions, everything before the show even airs, or catch up on clips from the show that you may have missed and participate in some of those other fun questions that you may have not caught during the live stream. You can also check out our website for more content as well as products that we've had from previous episodes and any clips and content that you may have missed. That's at livestyles.tv. We're going live on Sundays at 10 a.m. and next Sunday we're joined by my friend Megan, who started her own skincare company called Mega Glow. She's going to be giving us a skincare 101 and you guys can't miss it, especially during these summer months where I'm sweating, my pores are getting bigger, that I could use some tips. So don't miss out on that episode. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who participated in the comments. We will see you next week at 10 a.m. Toodles!